ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at extended factoring into binomials. So below are 4 examples of quadratics that have been factored into binomials. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. And factored form is parentheses, dx plus e and parentheses, fx plus g and parentheses. Okay. We're all going to write this down, right? Okay. So we took our standard form, split it up so that we could do the factor. But we're not even going to do that right now. We're just going to list this. We can see that in our A place is 2, in the B place is 5, and in the C place is 2. We know what the factored form is because it's on the outside of my square. So I can put 2x plus 1 times x plus 2. Then I'm going to put those in for D, E, F, and G. D is 2, E is 1, F is 1, D is 1, F is 1, G is 2. Don't understand. That's weird. Okay. Any questions about it so far? Seems pretty straightforward and simple. All right, number 2 we've got to fix because there's a mistake on there. I'm sorry, you guys, you know the computer's weird. It's going to make this disappear. And we're going to move on to number 2. Okay, number 2, we had to make some changes because there was a typo. Inside the box, this should say 3x, negative 12x, and negative 18. What is our A value for this one? 2. What's our B value?
9.
What kind of 9? Okay, what's our C? Okay. All right, we're going to do the factored form. 2x plus 3 and x minus 6. Does it matter if I did it the opposite way? The factored form's from right here. All I'm doing is putting that up there. Nothing else. So D is 2, E is 3, F is 1, and G is negative 6. Okay, what I would like you to do on your own, do the next 2. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and then we're going to answer the questions 1 through 3 below. If you want to start by trying to answer those questions, if you have more time than 3 minutes. But let's start now. Try to do the next 2. Let's look at these. So, I get 2, 11, and 12. For my factored form, I get x plus 4, and I get 2x plus 3. Okay. You could have put them in the reverse order. It would have been fine. And for my D, then I would get 1, E is 4, F is 2, and G is 3. All right? The other way is perfectly fine, and you would not get marked down.
The other way would be 2, 3, 1, 4.
Yep. Okay, let's do the next one. I get 2, negative 17, and 8. I put it in the factored form, and I get 2x minus 1 times x minus 8. And then I get 2, negative 1, 1, and negative 8. You could have had negative 8, 1, negative 8, 2, negative 1. All right, let's answer these questions. You're going to have to flip back and forth to answer these. Let's look at all of our A, B, and C's and see if they have a common factor. What's a common factor? A number that all of them can be divisible by, and we want to look for a common factor bigger than 1. So let's look. Number 1, we've got 2, 5, and 2. Is there a number that goes into all 3 of those evenly bigger than 1?
Yeah, 2.
No, 2 does not go into 5 evenly. 5 does not go into 2 evenly.
1.
So there is none besides 1. Let's look at the next one. 2, negative 9, and negative 18. Is there a number bigger than 1 that goes into all 3 of those evenly? look at the third one. 2, 11, and 12. Is there a number bigger than 1 that goes into all of them?
Nope.
What about the last one? 2, negative 17, and 8.
Nope.
No. So my answer is simply no. All right, we got to flip through one more time. Oh, 2 more times. Let's look at just D and E. If we look at D and E for the first one, is there a number that goes into both 1 and 2 that's bigger than 1? What about 1 and negative 6?
Nope.
What about 2 and 3?
No.
What about 2 and negative 1?
No.
So the answer is no. What do you think the next answer is going to be?
No.
Yes. Let's look at through it. F and G for number 1. 2 and 1, nothing bigger than 1. Second one, 2 and 3.
No.
F and G for the next one is 1 and 4. And the last one, 1 and negative 8. So the answer is no. Okay, let's find out what that means by turning to the next page. Okay. Let's look at this one, and then we can answer some questions and figure this out. First of all, let's put A, B, and C in. We know A is 2, B is 10, and C is 12. The factored form is given to me, so I just put in 2, 4, 1, 3. All right, let's answer these questions below. In the example above, did A, B, and C have a common factor? Let's look at it.
Yes.
2, 10, and 12. What is their common factor?
2.
All right. Did D and E have a common factor? What?
2.
So for D and E, okay, what about for F and G? F and G, no. Okay. Let's look for a second at this top one compared to this bottom one. So we're looking at how are these similar? This says 2x squared plus 10x plus 12. And this says 2 times x squared plus 5x plus 6.
It's just cut in half.
Everything's cut in half. So it's like I divided every single one of them by 2 and put the 2 on the outside. We know that we could take out a 2 out of D and E, and they took out a 2. And you had left over x plus 2. Okay? So that's what a common factor does for us. It makes it easier to factor. How is the example above related to the previous problem? It's the same. But the common factor is taken out. This is all for 1. It is the same, but the common factor is taken out. Okay, let's look at 7. How can you use this example to help you factor? You can take out the common factor. We can take out B. I'm going to put CF for common factor. If A and B and C do not have a common factor, what does this tell us about D, E, and FG?
No.
They don't either. They don't have a common factor either. Okay, so for your homework, you're going to have to actually, none of these you actually have to factor. For your homework, you're actually going to have to factor. Some of them will have a common factor you can pull out, some won't. Okay, so when it does have a common factor, you simply figure out what number goes into all of them, put it on the outside of your parentheses, divide everything inside by that number. So, I will show you. See how we've got 2x squared plus 10x plus 12. They all have a 2 in common, so I put a 2 on the other side. Now what's left inside, I'm going to divide each of these things by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I'm left with just x squared. 2 divided by 10 leaves me with 5. 2 divided by 12 gives me 6. Okay, and then I'll have to factor this. Well, that becomes easy. I know this is x, this is x. 6 is only 2 and 3. That adds together to give me 5. And you can use your box at this point. Equals 0, and then I would have to solve for my roots. X equals negative 2, negative, and x equals negative 3 would be my final answer. And when you try your